Good morning, students. So today we are going to start chapter 22 of our NCERT book, and that is chemical coordination and integration. What we are going to study in this chapter, we are going to study in detail about the endocrine glands. How many types of endocrine glands are there in human body? About their chemical secretions. So all of you remember the chemical secretions of the endocrine glands. They are known as hormones. So here we will know much about hormones. Then we get familiar with human endocrine system and the hormones that are produced by some other organs of your body. These may be heart, kidney, and gastrointestinal tract. Student, gastrointestinal tract is that part of your body where your stomach, it enters into the intestine with the help of a sphincter that guards that part, and it is known as a gastrointestinal tract. In the last, I am going to tell you about the mechanism of hormonal action, that how these hormones, which are actually produced by the endocrine glands, they generally perform various functions in your body, and how the target organs to which these hormones finally reaches, they perform their activities according to these hormones. Okay, student, let's start our chapter. So what is given in the introduction, that in humans, there are two well-developed systems that are meant for the purpose of transmission of messages from one organ to the other body part. Okay, student, one of that system, which is very much familiar to you, is the neural system or the nervous system. The neural system or the nervous system, they have nerve fibers, and these nerve fibers, they actually involved in the process of a transmission of messages from one body part to other body part, as well as to the central nervous system, which includes the brain and the spinal cord. So these nerve fibers, they are made up of structural and functional units, which are known as neurons. You have well studied about these neurons in class 9th and 10th, that these neurons, they consist of some of the component cells. These may be dendrites, axons, and the nerve endings. You are very much clear about the structure of the neurons in class 10th. But what is the special thing about these neural system? That the neural coordination, though it is a fast type of coordination, but the effect of this neural system or the messages which are conducted by these neural system, they are actually short-lived. Their effect is short-lived in nature and it vanish after some time. And as you know, they are nerves. They are generally responsible for the transmission of messages. So these nerves, they are not able to innervate all the cells of the body. So there are very narrow places in your body where these nerve fibers, they cannot enter. So cellular functions cannot be performed properly. So in order to maintain the efficiency of the neural system, one more kind of system is involved in the process of coordination and control, and that system is known as endocrine system. The chief cells of these endocrine systems, they are actually the, you can say, I have, instead of cells, you can say the glands, they are involved in these endocrine system, and these glands, they produce certain chemicals, and they pour their chemical secretions, which are actually called the hormones, into the blood stream directly, because these glands, which are endocrine glands, are actually the ductless glands. So this neural system as well as the endocrine system, they work jointly together, and they coordinate and regulate all the physiological functions that are happening in your body. Okay, student, let's see in detail what are these endocrine glands and hormones are. The student, endocrine glands, they are also known as a duct. They are also endocrine glands, they are actually ductless glands. They do not have their ducts, So their secretions, they are actually known as the hormones. So what are these hormones? These hormones are actually, you can say these hormones are the chemicals which are produced by these endocrine glands. And these endocrine glands, they pour their chemical secretions, that means hormones, directly into the blood. And from the blood, they are transported to the different target organs, which are distinctly located. So these hormones can also be defined as non-nutrient chemicals. And these non-nutrient chemicals, they are actually the intercellular messengers because they transmit the messages between different cells. And one important thing about hormone is that they are always produced in a trace amounts. Okay, student, the endocrine glands, they actually produced these hormones. So their hormonal system, or you can say the endocrine system, it also varies according to the type of the organism. So the simplest type of organism, or you can say invertebrates, they have very simple type of endocrine system, and they also produced a few hormones. Whereas the well-developed type of endocrine system that is present in case of highly advanced organisms such as human beings. And here, these hormones, they are produced in larger number and they provide coordination in the body of these vertebrates. So see, there is one diagram given in your book, and that is the diagram of human endocrine system. So human endocrine system, it consists of two things, endocrine glands and their chemical secretions, that are hormones. So these hormones, they are actually produced in the endocrine glands, and then they are transported with the help of blood to distantly located tissues and cells, which are actually the target organs. So various type of endocrine glands that are located in your body. See the diagram. Hypothalamus is shown in the diagram. This hypothalamus is actually the basal part of the diencephalon of forebrain. And after the hypothalamus, one gland which is known as pituitary gland, that is the master gland of the body. It is attached with the hypothalamus with the help of a stalk-like structure. And in between the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland, one very small gland is present, and it is known as pineal gland. And come on the thorax region or the neck region of your body. Here two types of endocrine glands are present. One is a thyroid gland and another is the parathyroid gland. So in the lobes of the thyroid gland, a pair of parathyroid glands are present. Then at the bottom region of your thorax, the thymus gland is present. This thymus gland is actually that region where your blood cells, they get mature. So all of you remember very well that the blood cells, they are produced in the bone marrow and later migrated towards the thymus gland, and their maturation takes place in the thymus gland. One very important thing that I want to tell you about thymus gland is that at the younger stage of your body, your thymus gland is of bigger size, but as you become aged, your thymus glands, it also keeps on reducing in their size. Okay, student, then after your stomach, a very special type of gland is present, which acts as both exocrine as well as the endocrine gland, and that is known as your pancreas. So this pancreas, it performs dual function. It also behaves as exocrine as well as endocrine gland. Then next to the pancreas, as you know, on the dorsal region of your body, one pair of kidneys are there. And above each kidney, one pair of adrenal gland is present. So two adrenal glands are present on the respective kidneys of your body. Then in the lower abdominal part of your body, the gonads are present, and these gonads are testes in case of male and ovaries in case of female. So these testes and ovaries, they also produce certain hormones, and they are also performing the functions of glands. Okay, student, that's all about the human endocrine system. Now I'm going to tell you in detail about the hypothalamus. So what is hypothalamus? This hypothalamus is actually the basal part of the diencephalon, that is part of your forebrain. As you know that these hypothalamus, it perform wide spectrum of body functions, and the cells of this hypothalamus, they are actually neurosecretory cells. This means they are neurons as well as such neurons which are secretory in nature too. So these neurosecretory cells, they are known as the nuclei, and these nuclei, they produce the hormones. So these hormones, they regulate and regulate the synthesis as well as secretion of the pituitary hormones. The hormones which are produced by the hypothalamus, they are of two types. These may be the releasing hormones, which stimulate secretion of pituitary hormones, or it may be the inhibiting hormones, which inhibit secretions of the pituitary hormones. So here I want to give you one example. If hypothalamic hormone called gonadotropin releasing hormone is produced by the hypothalamus, then it stimulates the pituitary synthesis and it allows them to release the gonadotropins. On the other hand, if somatostatin is produced from the hypothalamus, then it inhibits the growth hormone which is produced by the pituitary, and it stops the release of the growth hormone from the pituitary. So these hormones actually originate in the hypothalamic neurons and later passed through the axons and nerve endings. And these hormones, when they reach the pituitary gland, they actually move with the help of a portal circulatory system. This means the neurons which carry these hormones from the hypothalamus, they are neurosecretory type of cells. That means half of their body is of a neuron, and as soon as they reach the pituitary gland, so whatever lobe of pituitary gland comes in contact with that hypothalamic neurons, if it comes in contact with the posterior lobe of the pituitary, then that posterior lobe of the pituitary gland is in direct contact with the hypothalamic neuron. But if hypothalamic neuron has to transport hormones to the anterior lobe of the pituitary, in that case, the hypothalamic hormone, it behaves as a neurosecretory cell. That means when it behaves as a neuron, then the hormones, they are carried in these neurons in the form of an impulse. But later when they reach the anterior pituitary lobe, then here they transport the hormone into the portal circulatory system to reach the anterior lobe of the pituitary. This means half of the body of the these nuclei are of neurons, and the rest of the body is of the portal circulatory system. The students, see here in this diagram, the hormones that are secreted by hypothalamus, it finally transported by the hypothalamic neurons. So in case of posterior pituitary gland, the hypothalamic neurons, they directly reaches the posterior pituitary gland. But if the hypothalamic neurons, they have to transport the hormone to the anterior lobe of the pituitary, then in the halfway they behave as the hypothalamic neuron, and later as their nerve endings, they are secretory in nature, they transport their hormones into the you can say a portal circulatory system, and through this portal circulatory system it finally reaches the anterior pituitary gland. Okay students, now let us have a look over the pituitary gland. What is this pituitary gland? This pituitary gland is also known as the master gland of the body, because it actually regulates the functioning of other glands, and it allows or inhibit these glands that when they have to secrete the hormones or when not. Okay student, the pituitary gland is located in a bony cavity, and the name of that bony cavity is sella turcica. And this pituitary gland, it is attached to your hypothalamus with the help of a stalk. And if we want to study the anatomy of the pituitary gland, then this pituitary gland is divided into two portions. The anterior lobe of the pituitary gland, it is known as adenohypophysis, and the posterior lobe of the pituitary gland, it is actually known as the neurohypophysis. The student adenohypophysis, which is anterior lobe of the pituitary gland, it produced various types of hormones and it produced maximum number of hormones. So it again consists of two portions. One is pars distalis and another is pars intermediate. So pars distalis region of the pituitary gland, which is commonly called anterior pituitary, it produces so many hormones such as growth hormone, GH, prolactin, that is a thyroid stimulating hormone. Okay, student, prolactin, that is PRL, thyroid stimulating hormone, that is TSH, adrenocorticotropic hormone, ACTH, luteinizing hormone, LH, and follicle stimulating hormone, that is FSH. And pars intermedia, which is actually the middle lobe of the pituitary gland, but it is very much embedded in the pars distalis. So it cannot be considered as another middle lobe. So pars intermedia, it produces only one hormone, and that is melanocyte stimulating hormone. And later, the posterior lobe of the pituitary gland, it releases two hormones. One is oxytocin and another one is vasopressin. So which are actually synthesized by the hypothalamus and are transported axonically to neurohypophysis, which is actually the posterior lobe of the pituitary gland. Okay, student, what is given in the next paragraph? If some hormones which are secreted in more amount than their over secretion, it produces certain abnormalities in your body. So over secretion of growth hormone, it stimulates abnormal growth of your body and it leads to a disease, and that is known as gigantism. And if the growth hormone, it is produced in lesser amount or low secretion, then it results in stunted growth of your body, and it is known as pituitary dwarfism. There is one hormone known as prolactin. This prolactin hormone, it regulates the growth of the mammary glands and formed milk in these mammary glands. Then there is one another hormone, that is thyroid stimulating hormone. It stimulates the synthesis and secretion of the thyroid hormones, which are thyroxine, from the thyroid glands. Then there is a hormone ACTH. This ACTH hormone, it stimulates the synthesis and secretion of the steroid hormones called glucocorticoids from the adrenal cortex, portion of the adrenal gland. And there are LH and FSH hormones, that is luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone, which stimulates the gonadal activities, and hence they are collectively called as gonadotropins. So luteinizing hormone, it stimulates the synthesis and secretion of the androgens, which are the male sex hormones, from the testes. So in males, FSH, that is follicle stimulating hormone, they FSH and androgens, they jointly regulate the process of spermatogenesis also, that is the formation of the sperms. And what task they perform in the body of the female? So in female, luteinizing hormone, it induces ovulation, that is removal of the ovum, or you can say fully mature follicles, which are known as Graafian follicles, and maintains the residues of the Graafian follicle that form corpus luteum. So it also maintains the corpus luteum formed from the remnants of the Graafian follicles after ovulation. Then there is one another hormone, MSH, that is melanocyte stimulating hormone. It acts on the melanocyte cells and produced melanin pigment from them, and it regulates the pigmentation of your skin. The hormone oxytocin, it acts on the smooth muscles of our contraction. You can say smooth muscles of uterine contraction, and it helps in the birth of the baby. So in females, it stimulates a vigorous contraction of the uterus at the time of childbirth. Not only involved in the contraction of the uterus, it is also a milk ejection, you can say hormone, and it helps in the ejection of the milk from the mammary gland. Okay, student, vasopressin hormone is produced by your kidney and it stimulates the reabsorption of extra water and electrolytes by the distal convoluted tubules of your kidney, and thereby reduces loss of water through urine and avoid the condition of diuresis. Hence, it is also known as anti-diuretic hormones. Okay, students, I am very much hopeful that the concept is clear to you. So please revise your chapter, go through the chapter and learn the name of the hormones that are produced by the different lobes of the pituitary glands. So that's all in today's lecture, students. So read the chapter carefully. If you still have any questions, so send me your questions on my number. And that's all in today's class. Have a nice day.